We walked out of a restaurant earlier today. We're like,
literally, a woman turned to her friend and was like, "Well, I guess not." And so who knows who they were waiting for, but it was not.
But no, I love when they're like I hear them pass me and that's Chrissy Teigen, and the husband always be like, "Who?"
I think we all feel like really grateful to be here.
Yeah.
It's really cool to be here for this little show that we made. So yeah, we're all.
I mean, the fact that Hollywood Reporter or anybody wants to talk to us about anything is pretty incredible. For me, this is my first time being here. I've been here supporting John and things, but to have my own thing going on is really special. And just people are so excited on the streets, and that gives you like this energy and this, for me, this newfound energy that I don't get a lot because I'm usually at home with 4 kids. And so it's really nice, and it's a really like jolting like bolt of energy, and I love it. I love it. I do.
How's the food been here?
Oh my God, we just had the most incredible Thai meal.
very good.
It was honestly really good. My mom's Thai, so for me, I always get certain things to understand if that restaurant is good. It's the papaya salad and it's the pad Thai.
you ordered everything.
I ordered absolutely everything on the menu and destroyed everything on that menu, and I am feeling it, and I feel great.
I really don't have like a background in food. I don't have a super developed palate. I didn't have like huge interest in food. I grew up really poor. We didn't go out to eat a lot. We had very humble meals at home, and we've talked a lot about that. And I learned a lot through this show, you know, and I think I was always really intimidated by going to like nice restaurants and stuff like that. And we did go to a Michelin star restaurant for this show. But I think like the thing that I learned and that I hope a lot of people take away from the show is how accessible good food can be in a city like LA. And, you know, it's not all, you know, Michelin star and, you know, top tier chefs. It's a lot of places that you probably walk by every day and don't even notice.
But taking you to Providence and seeing your eyes like and your palate open up to, I think it was your first tasting menu, right? I mean, it was really special. It was really cool to be able to see somebody experience something like that for the first time, where so much love goes into their whatever 8 plates, and it's really cool getting to witness that, for me at least.
It was also awesome just to see this part of your life that was not activated now be part of your life, right?
No, yeah, I literally, like we talk about it on the show, like I blend chicken and drink it like a milkshake, or used to. I should say I don't really, I haven't done that in a long time. Probably since the finale.
I thought
Cheap chip. Like,
I thought it was a joke.
No, it was not a joke. It is like, I talk about it so much, it is a little trolling, but during the strike, I realized I had no hobbies anymore. And so I started to cook, and it was in large part due to Dave. And, you know, I've been teaching myself how to do different things. I bought a cast iron skillet, you know, like I really immersed myself in it because I had nothing better to do. But yeah, my relationship to food really changed dramatically after doing this show.
do you guys remember your very first really fancy restaurant or tasting menu?
I never really went to fancy restaurants growing up. And I thought there was a steakhouse growing up near me in Northern Virginia that I actually thought was the pinnacle of fine dining. Right? You don't know what you don't know, right? To me, that's the interesting point here is, what is fine dining, right? It's a special occasion. And I think that's sort of what the show is about too. It's your point of view, and some people might think that a 3 Michelin star restaurant is the best meal in the world, and some people might think that La Casita Mexicana is the best restaurant in the world. And when I was growing up, I thought that this steakhouse was the epitome. Like, you couldn't get more grand than that. And then as you travel, you realize that there's other things, but that doesn't mean that the steakhouse I grew up with is anything less.
What do you guys have your own favorite or most memorable?
I mean, Yangban for me was life-changing. It was a meal that it did this Jewish fusion of like beautiful Korean American food, but with like a Jewish flair. So they'd have a matzo ball soup, but with maybe a fish broth, or the rice porridge that they served it was a chicken pot pie rice porridge. It was exactly the way that if my brain operated in that way, it's exactly the food I would want to eat. And it's downtown LA. It's kind of a lot for me to get there, but it was so incredibly worth it. I've had them cook at my house since. Learning their story was so beautiful. And they did this big remodel, and seeing the ins and outs of being a chef and an owner of a restaurant, and seeing how complex that is. And they shared that with us. And some people ask us, like, what do you think is the most overrated restaurant? I'm like, I don't answer that question anymore. Like, there is so much heart and soul that goes into these restaurants, and the ones we saw alone were just so beautiful and spectacular. But that restaurant stands out as something that is really unique and special and delicious.
Have there been other travel shows or food shows, whether fiction or nonfiction, that you guys have really liked or got inspiration from? Or like, did you have anything?
Oh, I thought the bear was so beautiful. Like the chaotic episode of The Family, like it reminded me of my family a little bit. Seeing, you know, cousin work the front of house and completely have his life changed by the passion and the power that goes into being that first person you see at a restaurant. Seeing the growth through all the characters for me is really beautiful. I mean, I know it's such a beloved show, but for me, when I watch it, I see it as something so powerful and incredible and exhausting and frustrating and chaotic, and I love it.
I think Bourdain is sort of
Yes, my
the
God.
answer. It's cliche, but I think like you talk about accessibility, and I think like he really made food even before I did this show, and I wasn't really interested in food. He made it seem really fascinating, and I think it's through
books,
the
yeah.
passion and you know, he didn't make it seem like this big scary thing.
Yeah.
Clearly Bourdain, but I think for me, for a lot of chefs, we always think about the PBS shows and the great chefs of Europe, the great chefs of the Southwest. I mean, they had this whole series. And I think for me, it's one of the reasons why we wanted to make the show too, in a completely sort of different way, was just shed light on things that a diner may not know about. And a story on a dish that might resonate with somebody. So, it was a little bit of everything we wanted to put in the show.
What do you really want to do this year?
Yeah, I guess I'd like to be engaged by the end of the year. I mean,
You have the best answer.
he's not gonna watch this. He's not online at all, so I feel safe in saying that. But yeah, probably that.
Mine are simple. I have 4 babies now, and I want to be able to have the energy to keep up with them. I want to take care of myself so that I can wake up and not have regrets of, missing out on something they did. It's hard to split your mind between 4 kids. It's the physical time is something, but mentally it's a lot. And I have a little girl that's about to walk. I have a boy that's just a mush that does nothing. I have another boy that's so into sports, and a girl that like is just absolute perfection in a girl form. And to divide your time and your brain space for them is really difficult. And so for me, I just want to be able to learn to cope and spend time on myself so that I can take care of them. Because it's a lot, and whether it's the soccer games, the Girl Scouts, this, that, and dividing that time and making sure that we're there equally for all of them. So for me, it's a lot about it's a lot of personal growth and therapy and being able to be my best self so I can be great for them.
I got 2 young boys, and the past year was a lot more travel, a lot more work on the road. And I sort of got used to staying at home. So I'd like to figure out how I could work and be home a little
Listen,
bit
you give
more.
them 100% of your time and they want 150. You're never going to do enough. They're going to be fine. Everyone's going to be in therapy for one reason or another later on. That's what I figure. I have friends that are literally like, I was hugged too much. I'm like, oh my fucking God. You can't win with anything.
What is a classic movie or TV show that you have pretended to see?
My friends love Succession. I have not gotten into it just because it's provocative. It's a lot. It's in your face. And I have to be mentally ready for it. And at this moment in time, I am only capable of doing Paid by Numbers and Real Housewives.
I have reenacted the give my daughter the drugs scene from Terms of Endearment so many times, and yet I have never seen it. I have never seen it.
I've never seen The Office, ever. And I know, I'm friends with some of the people on the guy, so I haven't even seen the one episode. Couldn't even tell you what it's about. Clearly The Office.
It's about an office,
It's an office, but
Yeah,
never seen a single episode of The West Wing.
Oh my God. Okay.
And I've never seen any Law and Order ever.
Wow.
Yeah.